Hi, guys. Welcome to the Joy and Dance podcast. I am Joy.
And I'm Dan. I'm going to be interviewing Joy, and Joy will share her PCOS journey. This is also more like an awareness video as well. We're not giving any medical advice, just to share Joy's journey with you, and so you can learn one or two from it. In a very simple language, what is PCOS, or what is now referred to as PMOS?
So it's now PMOS, polyendocrine metabolic and ovarian syndrome. So it's just a condition that affects the whole body. So before the change of name, the PCOS means is just affecting the ovaries and the hormones. But after research and the change of name, I think people understand more that it's not just about ovaries and hormones. It affects your whole body, your mental health, your mood, your mindsets, everything. Is just a condition that affects the whole body. And then most especially, it affects your periods, your ovulation, and then it's very difficult for women with PMOS to get pregnant because first of all, your periods are not regular. And then if your periods are not regular, how do you expect your ovulation to be regular? And if you're not ovulating, how do you want to get pregnant? So that's where it affects women the most.
Okay. So when and how did you first find out that you've got PMOS?
So before I was diagnosed with PMOS, I've always had the symptoms growing up. As a young girl, I've had irregular periods. Periods can skip for 2 months, for 3 months. I can remember going to the hospital then. Back then in Nigeria, they said it was hormonal imbalance. So that's what I was struggling with. I was trying to help get some medications that could help my symptoms, that I could get back my periods and ovulation and all. So I've tried a couple of medications from doctors back home actually, but then the symptoms, my periods were still very much irregular. So fast forward to 2022, when I just came to the UK, I said to just go and visit the GP and speak to them about this because this has been one of my major problems. Right. Speak to the GP about this and see if I could get help from them. I was sent for a series of tests and the results came back. So when the result came back, the GP did not tell me over the phone. She invited me to her office and she said to come with my husband, which is you.
Oh, okay.
So I went together, both of us, we went to see the GP, and I can remember sitting in her office and everywhere was very cold. It was quiet. And I was thinking, what is it this time? What did she find in the test results? Is it going to be worse than what I've been battling and going through? And then she said, the test result came back. And from what I can see, you have the polycystic ovarian syndrome, the then PCOS, which is now PMOS. And she went further to say, what this means for you is you can't be able to get pregnant like every other woman. It's not going to be easy for you. So what I'm going to suggest is the best bet you have right now is when you're ready to get pregnant or when you're trying for a child, you should come back to us and then we can refer you to Fertility clinic to start your pregnancy journey from there. Because obviously there's no treatment for PMOS.
There's a lot of symptoms, facial hair, weight gain, acne. There's so many different symptoms. So for you, what has your symptom be compared to what other people actually have?
So a couple of years ago, I used to work with this colleague that we were just talking, and then she discovered I had PCOS, or I have PCOS. And she said, oh, I have PCOS as well. Then I was not this size. I was still on the smaller size, like I was still thin. And she was like, are you sure you have PCOS after my diagnosis? Are you sure you have PCOS? Because I have PCOS and obviously I'm on the big side, and that's as a result of PCOS, right? And she was really doubting. And that was when we started researching, me and her. We were researching and we discovered that not everybody with PCOS is on the big side. It's fats, actually. So some people like me have PCOS and they are not fat. So that was when both of us, we actually realized that you can be on the big side and you have PCOS, and you can be on the smaller side and you have PCOS. So for me, before I was diagnosed, I've always been on the smaller side. My periods were irregular. I could go for months without my periods. My ovulation was not there. So basically, for me, I think it was my periods, my ovulation, and then the mood swing that's like in and out, in and out, in and out. And I would say facial hair, but it's not very, very obvious. It's just like few strands, maybe here and here. So, yeah.
There's a lot of misconceptions and common myths about PMOS and PCOS. And some people say if you have PMOS or PCOS, like it was called before, that you cannot get pregnant, so you're going to gain a lot of weight. What would you say when it comes to the myth? What other stuff have you heard about people with PMOS and PCOS?
Okay, so I've heard that women with
facial
hair are wicked people. I've heard that a lot. Like back home here, I've heard that. And most people do not know that these things are hormonal conditions. Those women might be going through maybe hormonal imbalance or PCOS. So not every woman with facial hair is wicked, like people portray them to be.
So how about the one that said, oh, if you have PMOS, you cannot have children?
Okay, people say if you have PMOS, you cannot have children. It's not that you cannot have children, but it can be very difficult for you to get pregnant. You know, we talk about periods, we've talk about ovulation, right? So it is very difficult for you to get your periods already and for you to start ovulating. So it's not that you cannot get pregnant. Of course, I got pregnant with PCOS, but the journey to conception might just be difficult for you.
How does PCOS affect your daily life? Not just the fertility struggle, but your energy, your mood, and your self-image.
I'm always tired, and I could pass for a lazy person somehow, right? So, and then there is me trying to prove myself that I'm not lazy, trying to get around the house, do stuffs, do cleaning, like just be hardworking so people do not see you like you are lazy. And then there is mood swing. Mood swing messes me up big time, a whole lot. I can just be very happy and chatty this minute, and next minute I'm in my own world. Like I just want to be alone. I'm angry. I'm sad for no reason. Like when I say no reason, absolutely no reason. Some people might ask you, what's the problem? Are you okay? Why are you sad? I do not know why I'm sad. But the only thing I know is I am very sad. But the reason behind that sadness is something I do not know. And that is what I really struggle with day to day. At work, at home, but then you know these things, right? You understand these symptoms. You understand me better now. So when you see me in that element, you try to make me happy. You try to play me out of it. You try to make fun, like just do something that will make me laugh and then get me out of that mood. But aside that, people outside, I just have to prove myself, go extra mile to prove myself. Maybe at work, and then I feel some type of way, like I feel like being sad. Of course, there is no room for you to be sad at work. You interact with people all the time. You just have to go extra mile to prove yourself. Put that sadness behind you, which is very difficult, and then crack on at work.
So, like I said, it's okay if you don't want to answer these questions I want to ask here. When we talk about self-image as a woman, you know, how did, especially in the early stages of your life as a girl, and then the early stages of your life as a married woman, how did it affect your self-image and self-esteem as a woman?
Okay, so let me talk about as a young girl before I got married. In school, in the uni, back then I used to stay in the hostel. And in our room, we have like more than 4 people staying in the room. And then there is no privacy, you know, there's a bunk there. There is one here, just like that, you know, the way hostels can be. So everybody can see everybody's nakedness. Everybody can, if someone wants to track your ovulation for you, because people will do it, people will go extra mile just to prove a point. Someone will be there watching you quietly, silently, and then she's trying to track your ovulation for you. She saw a period this month. I'm not sure she saw a period last month. I think a couple of my roommates then, they noticed, and the news was going everywhere in the hostel. Oh, Joy does not see a period. At some point, people felt maybe I'm pregnant, or I just got rid of a baby, So there were so many stories about me going around the hostel. Stories that I will hear and I'm like, are you sure this is me? Like, you're very shocked to hear stories about you that you're not familiar with. So it really affected me. I always want to be in my space. And that's one of the reasons why I left the hostel. I only stayed in the hostel year 1. And then year 2, my family made sure that I was not in the hostel. I had to rent a place of my own just so I can have privacy and then reduce a bit of gossips and stuff like that. So it really affected my self-esteem. When people are talking about periods or how to calculate ovulation, how to, track ovulation, calculate your period, I could not contribute to those conversations because where do I start from? My periods are not regular in the first place, and then I'm going to talk about ovulation. It really affected my self-esteem. It made me feel less of myself. And then coming into marriage, once after someone has gotten married, the next thing is a child. People will be expecting. There are people checking the calendar, counting years for you. She's been married for a year. There's no baby bump yet. She's been married for 2 years, for 3 years. There is no baby bump yet. Though some people had the guts to come into my DM to say that, oh, stop all these things you're doing and go give that man a child. Meanwhile, some people are indirectly saying stuffs that. So I think I blocked a couple of people, right, saying all those nasty things to me. So I would say because I've gotten used to being in that kind of environment where people talk about your symptoms, your period. Coming into marriage, I expected it, I would say. I expected that people were going to check the timeline for me. And
when you wanted to get married, were you scared that what if I get married and I don't get pregnant? Were you scared?
Was I scared? I was worried, but I was not scared. For some reasons, I just had faith or have faith that it's going to happen eventually. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, but I just had this faith that it's going to happen eventually. So I was worried, but I was not scared.
There are a lot of things that would surprise different people with PMOS. So for you, what has been the most surprising thing with living with PMOS? What has stood out for you? Like, oh wow, kind of, or I didn't even know this can happen in PMOS.
It's getting pregnant.
Okay.
So because it was not happening the first year, it was not happening second year, third year, and then I lost hope. Right, I didn't believe that this was going to happen again because I was trying my best. I was putting in the work. I was putting in effort and everything to make sure that it happens, but then it did not happen. So when it happened eventually, I was like, wow, really? So this is my first time in my life. I actually got pregnant. So it was getting pregnant for me. It was the shock of my life, like what actually happened with PMOS.
Yeah. What were the things that you did that eventually led to you getting pregnant? Or how were you consciously helping or trying to fight your way and trying to get pregnant?
I didn't just sit back, cross my legs, fold my hands, and wait for what the GP said. Remember, she said, when you're ready to get pregnant, come around. We are going to refer you to the fertility clinic. And we know what it means like to be on the waiting list in the fertility clinic. It takes months, it takes years. So while at that, I did not just sit down. I tried to help myself. And when I say help myself, I tried to help my symptoms, starting with irregular periods. I tried to get my periods back. So what I did was I went online. I read about PCOS, the symptoms, properties that could actually help you get your periods back. And then I stumbled on some supplements that people have tried to get their periods back, to manage the facial hair, facial acne. Like there are a lot of supplements out there that could actually help you. So I read about it. I spoke to my GP about it. I was like, I saw some supplements. Do you think they're okay for me to try? And she said to give it a try. Taking those supplements, that could help me. And while I take it, I listen to my body and see how my body responds or reacts to them. And I made sure not to stay on those supplements for a very long time. I tried to break them down. Maybe I can stay on them for 3 months or 4 months, and then I give my body a break because it became too much. I give my body a break, like 1 month's break or 2 months break, and then I'm back again, and then just continue like that with that pattern. So I did not just fold my legs, waited for them to get me someone that could help me. I helped myself. I did lots of research, lots of reading, and then check for reviews. When you're buying those products, there are reviews. You just read the reviews, see some testimonies of people, how it has helped them, even negative reviews as well. You can pick one or two from those negative reviews.
So how did you feel when you tried some and it didn't work, or did they all work?
Honestly, not all of them did. Right. So
how did that make you feel? Like,
I was at some point, I'm human. I was exhausted. I was tired of trying. I was frustrated. So, when I tried this one and maybe for a couple of months it didn't work, I'll start looking for another one to try, and then another one to try till I found the right one, and then I sticked to it. When you're trying something, hoping to get a positive result from that thing, and the result is not coming forth, it's okay for you to be frustrated, because I was frustrated. I was so mad. I was so angry.
As someone who has PMOS and eventually got pregnant, what do you want to say to that woman who is in her room right now or watching this video and has been living with PCOS, maybe as a single person or as a married person? Do you think early diagnosis would help?
Yeah. So I was going to talk to the ones that have not been diagnosed with PMOS first before the diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
So these things give signs, yeah. If you're a girl and then your periods regular and then all of a sudden it stops, don't just sit back and assume, oh, these things are normal, it's going to come back when it's ready. And then some people might be worried, am I pregnant? And then you go for a pregnancy test. You're not pregnant, and then you come back, you sit back. Whenever the period is ready, it's going to come. So this is where the problem starts. If you ignore things like that in your body, it's going to end up being something serious. So if you've noticed something, if you have some symptoms that you're not familiar with, speak to the doctor, speak to your doctor, go for some tests, some blood tests, some hormonal profile, and then get to know what the problem is. Don't ignore lots of signs in your body. And then if you've been diagnosed with PMOS, we all know there is no treatment for that. So if you are in a different country as the both of us, where you can easily get fertility treatment, I'm sure you can go for it. But then if you are in a country where you have to be on that long waiting list to get a fertility treatment, you can help yourself. I did it. Lots of women around me, they've done it. I've seen, I've read stories, I've watched videos on social media of how people help themselves. People with PMOS, hormonal imbalance, they help themselves. So research, there are lots of supplements that can help you. They can help with the acne, with the facial hair, with periods and all. Food rich in protein, rich in fiber. I had to reduce my carbohydrates intake. That's not really helping. So it's not that we are eliminating it, all of it. No, we are just reducing it, taking that in portion, but more of protein, more of fiber, more of nuts. These are the things that are going to help you. And then exercises, gentle exercises. You don't have to lift heavy weights. You don't have to do the very tedious exercises. Just taking a walk, going for a run, like minimal exercises can help.
Yeah.
So don't give up. That's something else I'm going to say. Do not give up. It can be frustrating, when you're trying a lot of things and then you're not seeing positive sign. It can be really, really frustrating. But then keep on trying until we get a positive result, positive pregnancy result. We are not stopping.
Right. So you've heard it all from Joy. Like I said, today was Joy's Joy being on the hot seat. And yeah, eventually Joy got pregnant. But again, because she's got PMOS, it was a journey, a tricky one. And the next episode is where we're going to be talking about Joy's fertility struggles, faith, and the journey. It was a roller coaster of a journey. You want to know the story, and we'll share the story in the next episode. So thank you for watching. Like, subscribe, share, drop us your PCOS, PMOS story.
Yeah.
We're here to hear.
Answer every question you have.
Yeah. So see you in the next episode.
See you.
Bye.